Because you represent the G15 in some respects, I've got a question for you. So the G15's diversity pledge to increase BAME representation across the boards, across their boards, to 30% by 2025 is very much welcomed, definitely. But with over 40% of Londoners identifying as Black, Asian, minority ethnic, should we be targeting underrepresentation?
Absolutely, Alison. I'm not going to say that 30% is 30% is a good start. If you think about it, when you look at the 2017 kind of survey that was done, three out of the 15 in G15 they had none. So trying to come to 30% is amazing. I think what the G15 pledge has done is they've committed themselves to be more visibly diverse at all levels of organization. I think it's the first time all the 12 chief execs signed for that. So it's kind of just being positive about that. We have to collaborate and invest and support the BAME talent. Yes, there was a bit of kind of thinking, if we start doing all these programs for people, then someone from Clarion will get the job in Notting Hill and someone from Notting Hill will get the Optiva. And we kind of said, hang on, so what's the big deal? Do you want to lose these people of the sector, or do you want to keep them in the sector? And you're absolutely right. At present it's 40%. Who knows what the census will come along? And I think the next step has to be that we reflect the communities that we serve. Because if we don't look like them, if we don't talk like them, if we don't kind of get their diverse opinion, we're not going to be successful.
I think you kind of hinted at it there, but are you defensive or open about the fact that you don't currently represent your tenants well? I think that's probably one of the key things, is like letting go of that defensiveness and being able to say, we're not there yet, we really want to be there, and it hasn't happened yet, and we want to make that change. I guess, do you want to change the mix? Do you want to represent better? You'd like to hope everyone's going to say yes to that, but actually it's worth discussing it and making sure that you've got buy-in around the table, and if not, really challenging those board members that don't seem like they've been brought in yet. Do you believe the people are out there? I think this is a really interesting one. I spoke to someone who posted an advert and didn't mention that they were looking to improve the ethnic diversity of their board in the advert, and I knew they were. And they said I wasn't sure if I'd get enough applicants, so I didn't want to mention it. Some awkward thing like that. And I thought, no, they're out there. I believe that there are definitely enough Black, Asian and minority ethnic people who have skills and experience that are board relevant, and many of them board ready. And I'm sure Louisa's going to come on and talk about that a bit more. But that's a good question to get debating. Then an interesting one that I've found, being quite a lot younger than most of the board members on the boards I've joined. I was 29 when I joined the board of a bank. Is, do you have sort of cultural barriers that make it difficult, or maybe even near impossible, for them to join and enjoy being on the board?
So how do we change the status quo? Imagine the status quo as the walls of your organisation. And at the moment, in these walls, they're holding up the glass ceiling for many Black, Asian and minority ethnic colleagues. Those walls are: one, the lack of safe spaces to have their voices heard; two, the systems, the processes and the practices which sometimes allows unfair treatment, or sometimes excludes marginalised groups of employees; three, the policies which sometimes results in negative outcomes for those impacted; and four, bias and white privilege, which impacts on opportunities for recruitment, reward, the lack of progression to the boardroom. So these are the walls which we need to challenge, we need to review them, we need to dismantle them, and we need to rebuild them. I think the new walls need to provide more transparency, more meritocratic processes, which can be meaningful and measured, so that organisations like yours can be accountable and, more importantly, level the playing field for Black and Asian minority employees, right from early careers, so from graduates right to the boardroom.